this is Ginger from My Sister Scrapper. Today, I want to share with you a fun project that I created using Graphic45's Bloom collection. I still have quite a bit of this collection in my stash. So that's what I used, but I didn't use, I used scraps. And so for this project, you're going to learn how you can take, all those 3x4 journal cards or that you have left over or cut aparts to make this little book. It's a super simple little book, and here we go. So again, the front cover is really simple. I've got a ribbon closure here, and this is a tiny little book. I mean, tiny, okay? The covers are 3.5 by 4.5, and the spine is 1 inch. There's only 2 page units in here. I have one of the journal cards that I had left over, and again, I had a bunch of leftover products from a couple of classes that I had taught using that collection. And I just wanted to, use them up because they're so pretty, and I love this collection. I die-cut a little doily back here. I did wrap my chipboard with a scrap of the leftover patterns and solids that match this collection. I have a ribbon closure here, and then so it just unties like this. Again, there's only 2 pages in here. The pages are ivory, even though I wrapped it with the blue. So on the inside front cover, again, super, super simple. I just used leftover stuff. This was one of the journal cards, and I just fussy cut around it, and I added another larger doily here in the back, and this is some more of the design paper right here. I put a little border strip from one of the papers right here to break up some of the ivory. On the front cover, on the first page, I put this cut apart. I think this was a cut apart and not a journal card. And I put it on a piece of chipboard just to give it some dimension, and add a strip of green here just to continue the look. So over here, again, I used all scraps. I did add 2 Graphic45 ivory tags, and I'll show those in a minute. So I made, this is again another journal card. I just scored it, folded it in half, have a little belly band. This is one of the cut apart pages, and some blue paper there. I did ink around all the edges really faint with walnut stain. I used a borders punch that I had in my stash for the pockets. Again, some more scraps of paper and cute little fussy cut stamp. This was actually die cut from one of the journal cards. I just put the Graphic45 die, centered it where I wanted on the journal card, and then die cut it out, and then they're plain on the back, and then I have the same coordinating ribbon right here. Again, some more paper. So there's, again, only 2 page units in here, and then each one of these are going to have a little photo mat right here, and these little photo mats I think are 3x4. Yes, 3x4, and they're plain on the back. So those are going to drop right in there, and then you flip it over. Again, the same kind of design on the pocket fronts. They're going to be just a strip of paper and then a little stamped image, or a little fussy cut stamp. I used a rectangle stitched die for these little photo mats here. Some more design paper. Again, this was a great way. I mean, I used hardly anything. I only used scraps. I didn't cut into any paper to do this. Again, oopsie. Little tuck spot right here, and then again I just put this on some foam tape here, this cute little border strip, and I just cut it in half and just added it here, so these 2 are a mirror image, and then another little border strip right there. This is actually left over from when I trimmed out this journal card right here. And then that's the first page. So the second page is pretty similar. I have a little belly band here that you could add, slide your photo right underneath like this. Again, another fussy cut stamp, some more layered up strips of design paper here. And then this one is, I have a blue one and I had a pink one. Again, I only used scraps. This is a great way to use scraps. Because, this paper is so beautiful, you don't want to get rid of anything. Again, another cute little photo here. This was actually one of the fussy cut images from the cut apart sheet. Some more design paper here, another fussy cut image. I glued this one down, and I did leave it open right here. And then right over here on the back inside cover, this is the reverse side of a journal card. And again, I put a piece of design paper here, and then this is another piece of design paper right here. So that's my little tiny itty bitty little mini album that I created using just scraps from the fabulous Graphic45 Bloom collection. So after I made this, and it sat on my table for a few days, because it didn't take very long to make, I thought, I've got a whole bunch of this other paper collection, and I know from Prima, and they sell 4x6 journal cards in like a pad, and then they sell 3x4 journal cards in a pad. And this collection is like old, probably 4 years, maybe 5 years. So I thought I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this design to use up some of that paper. So I'm going to show you a tutorial, full tutorial from start to finish on how I made this itty bitty little book. So you can make one too. Again, this one right here was created using Bloom. So for the tutorial, here's what you're going to need. And I did some of the prep work early. You're going to need a pair of scissors, a scoreboard, a bone folder, some glue, some score tape, you know, all those things that you normally would use to make a project. You can use a decorative border punch if you want for your pocket pages, the fronts of the pockets, or you can just say, no, I don't want to do that, and that's okay. You can keep them square. It's no big deal. You do you. So here's what I'm going to use. And again, I had a bunch of these. I taught a class at my local scrapbook store years ago, and I was a baby album, and I had a bunch of these little 3x4 journal cards left, and I had a bunch of these 4x6 journal cards left, and then I have still some paper left from this Prima Heaven Sent, the original Heaven Sent, in the A4 collection. And the cool thing about that is it has all these little alpha stickers and all these cute little cardstock stickers. So I thought, you know, I'm going to use this up and make one of these little projects. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to give you all the measurements right now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our chipboard. So you will need some chipboard, and you can get it all out of, you know, a small piece. It doesn't take a lot. So you need 2 pieces that measure 3.5 by 4.5. You'll need 2 like that. So I've got 2. And then for your spine, it's going to be 1 inch by 4.5. You're going to take your chipboard pieces. You're going to add your score tape. I like to use score tape. If you want to use wet glue, that's fine. Just know that for the tutorial, I'm a score tape person. Okay. So that's for our covers. Now to wrap our covers in white, I'm going to use white. You're going to need a piece that measures 6 inches by 11 inches. You're going to put it in your scoreboard with the 6 inches going across the top. And this is just, we're going to score just so I have a guide in order to keep my chipboard straight. That's the only reason for scoring, okay? I'm going to score this time at 3/4 of an inch on the long side. I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to put it in here with the 11 across the top, and I'm going to score at 3/4 of an inch right here, okay? That's all the scoring we're going to do for that. That's going to wrap our chipboard. We're going to get all of our scoring and all that good stuff done. So to make the 2 little hinges for our book, we need a hinge mechanism. I'm going to give you the measurements. I have a tutorial already on how to make hinges and covers and bindings, and I'll try to link that. It's 4 or 5 years old, but I'll try to link that in the description box below. But I went ahead and made my 2 hinge mechanism. I added my 1/4 inch score tape to the top of each hinge, close to the top edge, and I only use 1/4 inch on these hinges, and you will know the reason why when we finish the project. I added my adhesive all over to the back of my hinge mechanism. But here's the measurement for the hinge mechanism. You need a piece that measures 5.5 by 4 inches. Okay, so you're going to put it in here. I like to make my hinge mechanism a 1/4 inch smaller than my pages. My pages, when they're all done, are going to be 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. So my hinge is going to be 5.5 by 4 to start. I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to start my first score line at 1.5. Okay. Now, in order to make a hinge, you need 2 1/2 inch spaces that are attached together and then a gusset. So I'm going to go 1.5, 2, 2.5. Okay. So those 2 1/2 inch channels are going to make 1 hinge. Now I need to leave a space, which is this right here, which is my gusset. I always do 3/8 of an inch. I never do anything smaller because I get a little carried away with my foam tape, and I want to make sure my book's not going to gap open. So my last square line was at 2.5. So I'm going to count over 3/8 of an inch. 1, 2, 3, and score. Okay, that's my channel for my gusset. Now I need 2 more 1/2 inch spaces to make my last hinge. So again, I kind of have it memorized, but 1/2 inch from that 2 7/8 is going to be 3 3/8. The next score line will be 3 7/8, and we're done. That's it. Okay. So again, 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 2 7/8, 3 3/8, 3 7/8. Okay. Then you go over here and you're going to add your adhesive to the 1/2 inch channels. Okay, I like to fold on mine first just so I know, oopsie, where they go. Kind of, because some people get confused on how they're supposed to, where their tape goes. So you're not gluing the wrong thing together. Okay, so my 2 1/2 channels, I'm going to fold on that center score line. My 2 1/2 channels, I'm going to fold. I'm going to add my tape here. Well, that doesn't work very well. So I'm going to add tape here into this channel. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to skip my gusset and then add tape here. Okay, add your tape, fold it over, and then you'll get this. And again, I have a tutorial already on how to make a hinge, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. So the next thing we want to do is we want to score our pages. Now, in the book, I have 2 pages, so that's what we're going to make. So for each page, you will need a sheet of paper that measures 6 1/2 by 8 1/2. Okay, so we're going to put it in here with the 6 1/2 across the top, and we're going to make 2 score lines. So we're going to score 3 1/4, because remember I said our pages are going to be 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay. So 3 1/4, and I have a tutorial on how to make this page as well, but we'll just do a review. We have 8 1/2 over here. I'm going to score that at 4 1/4, because again, my pages are going to be 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay. So you need 2 pieces scored exactly like that. They're 6 1/2, 8 1/2, scored at 3 1/4 and 4 1/4. Okay. Now for the pocket piece, on the front of our little page, you need a piece that measures 4 1/4 by 3 1/2. Okay, so we're going to put it in here with the 3 1/2 across the top, and we're going to score that right in half, which is 1 3/4. We're going to rotate it to the 4 1/4 side, and we're going to score at a 1/2 inch on both ends. Now you can go at 1/2 inch, rotate it 1/2 inch, or you can be like me because I'm right-handed. It's easier to count my 1/2 inch back this way. So 1/2 inch from the 4 1/4 would be 3 3/4. But it's the same number. A 1/2 inch is a 1/2 inch is a 1/2 inch. So that's what we're going to do. So you will need 2 of these and 2 of these. So we're done scoring. We can put our scoreboard away. Now we're going to get either our paper trimmer or our scissors. For the video, I'm going to use my scissors and hope I cut straight. All right, first thing I want to do is to make my page. So my page again is going to be, when I get done folding it and cutting, it's going to be 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I want to take this paper right here, and I've got my 6 1/2 right here. This is my 4 1/4 score line. I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to use the big ones here, and I'm going to cut on that score line all the way up and stop where the page intersects, where the score lines intersect right here in the center. And that's all we're going to do. Now you can put this in your trimmer if you want to. I want to live on the edge here, and okay, I'm going to stop right there. And that's all we're doing for our cutting. So it should look like this. Okay. Now I'm going to take it and fold on my score lines. This is how I like to fold mine. I flip it over. I've got my cut here on the top, and I'm going to fold on the long edge. Take your bone folder and burnish it really well. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it back. So my cut that I cut is on the top of my page. Okay. And make sure everything's squared up, because sometimes, you know, paper's not even. Not squared up. So that's our page. So we've got the cut edge, a folded edge, and the cut edge. So we're going to open like this. This is our center section. We're going to seal this is where our pocket's going to go. So that's going to seal the bottom of our page. And we'll have a side pocket here, a pocket here, here. And this opening right here, once we seal the bottom, is what's going to attach to our hinge mechanism. Okay, so we've got the page cut, scored, and folded. Now we're going to add the pocket. Excuse me. So I'm going to take my pocket. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to add score tape to these 2 1/2-inch tabs. I like to use 3/8 of an inch score tape on these whenever I'm making pages with 1/2-inch tabs. So we're gonna add our adhesive, and I like to add my adhesive before I do any trimming because I want to make sure my adhesive is edge to edge. And when you're cutting stuff at an angle, it's hard to get adhesive on a point if you're using score tape. Using wet glue, knock yourself out. All right, so now I have my tape here. I'm going to flip it over and we're going to cut on these little hinges to make them fold. So we've got our the long side here. We've got this big score line in the middle and these 2 1/2-inch ones. We're going to take our scissors and we're going to take a little V notch right out of the center score line, just up to that center one. So it looks just like that. I'm going to do that on both sides. I like to do the trimming before I fold, like this, okay? Now on my sample, I went ahead and used a decorative border punch on the tops of my pocket edges. We're going to do that before we put our pocket on. So I like to go ahead and, again, I've already added my score tape, and I do that for a reason, and I'll share that with you in just a second. So this is the front of my pocket. The score tape's facing the top, and I'm just going to center this in here, and I think you all know how to use a border punch, so here we go. Okay, so I've done the border on both long edges. I'm going to fold in the middle, burnish it. I'm going to take these 2, fold those back. Excuse me, and the other side. So now we have our pocket. So now what we want to do is we want to add this pocket to our page. Okay, so here's our page. Again, we've got the cut edge, the folded edge, and then the cut edge. So I want you to lay it in front of you with the folded edge at the top. You're going to open this up, hold this in the middle, and take that back page and flip it back. We want to add our pocket to this to seal up that bottom edge. This is how I like to put my pocket on, okay? I've just found it easier that way. I fold in my tabs. I take the bottom of my page. I line it up right there with the score line. I'm just holding it down. I'm going to take this. I'm going to fold it over. Make sure I don't have any overage and it's not on that score line, so it's not going to, it should fit just right so it doesn't hinder the page from folding. Once I know it's good, I'm going to open that back. I'm going to hold it down with my hand and take the release paper off. Fold it up, stick it down. Now that one's already on there. You just flip it over and do the same thing over here. And then I like to burnish my tape down. And then there we go. That's our page. Now we'll fold it back the way it originally was. So we have our front, our inside, our pocket here, our side pocket here, flip it over, our other pocket here, here, and here. So you're going to make 2 pages. One, and I already have the second one already done. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap our chipboard. And I'm sure everybody knows how to wrap chipboard, but you know what? We're going to make this project from start to finish. So here we go. I've got my piece of cardstock that I've scored one long edge and one short edge. I've got my first piece of chipboard, which is the cover, so it's going to go just like this. I'm going to line the bottom corner with the corner score lines right here. Just like that. Line it up along the top and the left side. Then I'm going to leave a space. Now, here's the big question. How much space do I leave? Well, if you don't want your paper to crack, you need to leave at least, I do 3 widths of my chipboard. Whatever chipboard you use, make yourself a little shim. Glue 3 pieces of scrap chipboard together, use it as a shim, and stick it in there. Some people like to use 1/4 inch score tape. If you're one of those people, go for it. So that's going to go there. Next, our spine. We're going to leave our space, and then we're going to add our other piece. Now you'll see over here I got a little bit extra, but we're going to trim that off when we're all done. So we're going to go ahead and take the backing off our tape and add our chipboard to our cardstock. Okay, make sure you burnish your tape down if you're using tape really, really well. And there's our chipboard. Now we're going to trim this off. We have 3/4 of an inch around this, and this. We want to make sure this is 3/4 of an inch. You can use your ruler. You can eyeball it. You can use your paper trimmer. You can use a pencil and a ruler, which is what I'm going to do. You don't have to do this. I just like it. I don't know. What can I say? I just do. So I'm going to trim that off, and that's our little piece of paper. Now we're going to fold on our, I'm going to wrap our chipboard all the way around. I like to just work my paper and get it trained. To move. This is such a small book that it's pretty simple. Now I'm going to add my adhesive. Again, I'm going to use score tape, and I'm going to cut out my corners. Now, corners are another thing that people have different opinions on. You do you, and I'll do me. I'm going to miter my corners because I like the look of a mitered corner. If you just want to cut the squares out and fold it over, go for it. But I'm just going to do it that way because that's how I've done it. What can I say? So I'm going to add my tape, and I'm going to put one piece of tape right here. And I've kind of found that if I put one piece, and this is something new for me, along the inside like this, it will help your paper from not cracking. So I'm going to put tape close to that chipboard edge on the cardstock. If you have a tendency to have cardstock that will crack. I like to use a 65-pound weight cardstock when I'm wrapping my chipboard. Because if you go to the extra heavy, like the 100-pound, it's going to crack. It doesn't like to behave. Now the authentic 80-pound artisan cardstock, that cardstock's amazing. It won't crack, and it's 80 pounds. So I've used that before as well, and that's lovely. So now we're going to go ahead and add our tape here, and I don't need to go all the way because I'm going to cut my corners out. Okay, I'm ready. Take my scissors. I'm just going to eyeball it. Again, you do corners how you want to do your corners. I'm going to cut them off like so. Now, if for some reason you got too close to your corner, before you fold it over, take your little piece you cut off, since it's already got glue on there, and glue it right there. Now we're going to fold this over and stick it down. I like to start with my long edges first. So I'm going to take the backing off. Okay, now we're going to fold in our short side. So I'm going to take the backing off my tape first. Just going to push those little corners in. Okay, there's our wrap chipboard. Now I like to take my bone folder and just find my spaces really quick. And there's our little book. Oh my gosh, how cute, right? Adorable. Now we're going to add our hinge. Again, we've made our hinge. I've already added my adhesive. You need to make sure before you, it's just easier to add your score tape to your hinges before you stick it in your book. You're going to add 1/4 inch score tape to, here's your hinge. This is the folded top of your hinge. You're going to add that tape to the close to the top edge on both sides of each hinge. Okay, because when you go to put your pages on, you don't want to stick your pages all the way down, otherwise they don't turn. You need to leave a space here. So we're going to take the backing off and add our hinge to our spine, centering it left to right, top to bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you want to measure it and ruler and all that good stuff, go for it. I'm just going to eyeball it. That's the way I roll. Okay, I'm going to stick it down. Okay, now I need to find my creases again. I'm going to just gently, I have a Teflon bone folder, gently find my spaces and fold up my edge. And there we go. Super cute. Oh my God, do you love it? All right, there we go. Now we've got our pages. So what I did is, because again, these pages are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, this is a great way to use up all these little 3 by 4 cards that I have. Guys, they're darling little images on the front, and they have a solid print or a pattern that's pretty tone on tone for the back. So I used quite a bit of these that's what I want to get rid of this stuff. So what I did was I went ahead and did a little prepping. I'm going to set our book aside because, again, I like to decorate my pages before I put them in my book. And then we'll decorate, before we add the pages, we'll decorate the cover and add our ribbon. So I went ahead and picked out what I wanted. I got this cute blue here. This little journal card I think I'm going to use on the front. I mean, how cute is this? Wouldn't it be cute as a little brag book? Favorite photos of baby? Oh my gosh. So that's what I'm going to use for that. And then I think I want to use a piece of pink for the back. So I'm going to set that little dude aside because we're going to use him on the front cover. And then we'll probably use a solid blue maybe on the back. So I'm going to set that aside over there. All right. So for this first one, again, 3x4 is your design paper measurement. So if you got these cute little things, use them. I might put that on the inside. I might do this. I think I'll do this cute little wood grain on the first page. Now, when I'm adding paper to paper, I'm an ATG girl. I don't like to use wet glue on pages if I can avoid it. And here's my reasoning. Wet glue, no matter how fabulous our glitter glue is, it's wet. So there's a liquid. This does not make your paper wrinkle, as long as you don't use a whole boatload, but it takes the flexibility out of your paper. So it makes your pages super, super stiff. If you like that, then go for it. It bugs me. What can I say? Now for this project, I'm not going to ink around anything because it's a baby book. So I'm just going to add this to the first page. Okay, so we got the book decorated, the covers, we got all the pages. I went ahead and made some little tags, and this is just a tag die. You can use the Graphic 45 tags. I just really liked this pretty craft color because I thought it matched this paper really well. And then I went ahead and also made little side inserts, and again I used the craft, and I did put white on the back, and they're going to go in here. So now we're going to add our pages to the book. Again, I like to do that after I've done all the decorating. And I like to start from the back. There's just 2 pages, so it's pretty simple. I'm going to take my back page first. I'm going to take all the inserts out so they don't get in the way. And this is why I make my pages, my hinges a 1/4 inch smaller, so I don't have to worry about angling anything or struggling to get those puppies on those hinges, because there's so much room. And then I just slide it down there like this. I don't go all the way down. See, I still got that space. That's why I use my 1/4 inch tape, so that can be kind of a guide. I make sure my page is straight, and then I stick it down. Now what I like to do is I like to take, if you struggle getting your pages straight, here's something you can do to hopefully help do that, to make them straight. So I have to pull the backing off the back side, and I only pull a little bit off of this one, and I just kind of fold it down. I take my page, and I just stick it on there like this. Make sure it's even and it's not all the way down. Before I press down, I make sure I have it all straight, and then I press it down. So the back's already stuck down, and then I can just pull this, and voila, press it down. So there's the first page. Now we're going to put the second page in, although I am going to put these in here so I don't forget where they go. Again, I'm going to pull the backing off of this one. Just pull this up a little bit, fold it down, take my page, and set it on there. Make sure it's even with the second page. Looks good. Press it down and then pull this one off. So now we have our pages in there, and we can put our tags in here and our little inserts in here. And there we go. I know, right? Don't you love it? And look, see, this is what happens to me. I get it so full. And then here's my ribbon closure. I used the same ribbon. And I did use paper because I used white. I didn't want it to get, you know, if you're like handing it around, you know what the white cards like to get dirty from fingerprints and stuff. So that's it. And we're just going to tie it closed. Super, super cute and super fast, super easy. Great way that I'm going to use up all of my 3x4 journal cards that I have left over from previous class kits. So as you can see, no matter whatever paper you use, it's just going to give you a totally different look. Here's the Graphic 45 one, and here's the baby one. So there you go, everybody. Thank you so much for being patient and watching, and there you have it. Bye.